little after 8 a.m. my time. I got the window open. It's pretty warm here. Yesterday I think we were up in the 30s plus range. Supposedly it's going to cool off today. I think there was a little bit of rain sometime in the middle of the night, but it's really feeling just mostly muggy right now. So I have the window open, so if you hear traffic going by, that's why. So anyway, we're back here on my alts plot, celery, and gonna see about if we can start kind of finishing up this oddball little bingo haul that I decided to try and create. For those that haven't been following along, this was inspired by a guild event that I'm currently hosting each Saturday of the month of August. We're doing what I call the Summertime Bingo Bash. It's where rather than numbers, you have words or phrases like beach or ice cream or it's just summer related themes, some summer themed stuff on your cards instead of the numbers, and then we just call them out. It takes like an hour or so if you clock it from like start to finish, or at least the first time we did it this last Saturday. It's a progressive game that we hold consisting of 3 rounds. The first round is a single straight line bingo, and the second round is 2 straight line bingos, any combination thereof, and then the final round is the full blackout. And basically it's just I used an online site to generate. I put in all my list of words that I wanted, and then I generated like, I don't know, 30 or so cards, and I gave the forum, the guild, a link to those cards, to each individual one, and asked them to pick one of the cards. So they all have their own specific card that they'll be using every time, and they look like this. Just a little card, you know, basically like a regular bingo card, except it's got words instead of numbers. And then I have a little container here with the little call tiles with the words on them, and then I have a caller sheet that I keep track of what one I call and in what order and everything. And basically we just kind of gathered on TeamSpeak, and I holler, and everybody's like getting all antsy because they haven't gotten their numbers, or they just need one and not the right one that I call, and stuff like that. It's just a goofy kind of little activity to do to kind of break up the monotony of, you know, a lot of us are level capped, while some entertain themselves by venturing on to alts and stuff, or other activities like role-playing events and PvP stuff. It can get kind of monotonous for some of us that are capped, and we're just doing the dailies over and over again, or we just kind of feel like we're in a rut. So I thought I would break it up a little bit this month by holding a little bingo event, and so far it seems to be going pretty well. It's just, like I said, it's just a quick little progressive game. I think it lasted exactly about an hour this past Saturday. So and it was fun because there was a lot of, well, at least a few players that had never played before, so they found it pretty weird and amusing, and it's just, you know, my way of bringing a little interesting, goofy stuff to my guild. I know when I'm in a guild and I'm not really being active in this way, I usually kind of miss having someone taking the reins on, kind of like throwing in some extra stuff. And while we do have guild members that regularly organize things, a lot of times it's level restricted, or you have to engage in a specific activity, so you have to stop what you're doing elsewhere to go to that place to participate, be it a battleground or you know, like an RP event if you're going to go bar hopping or something, or even housing challenges that I have, that requires you to be a minimum of level 14. And we do have some players that are just starting out, or just haven't gotten around to getting their house or anything like that. And I try to come up with activities that are a little bit more broad as far as who could be involved and things like that. So we don't actually gather in game per se. It's not a requirement. They can be anywhere they want in the world, as long as they're listening to the event channel and or listening in on TeamSpeak. That said, because of the event, it got me to thinking about, well, what if I actually built a bingo hall, and in the anticipation of having, a bunch of guildies come and everything. So that's what I've been doing for the last week, off and on, for an hour or two here and there. And this is what we have so far. Again, you'll notice that some of the items, due to their sizing, I think it's if you go below the default 0.20 sizing, if you go smaller than that, it's quicker to disappear the farther you get away from it. So that's why some of the bits kind of fade in and out as I'm moving around. But you can see it's pretty basic. It's nothing super fancy. I don't have any fancy ways of doing the walls. You could change up. You could keep the floor one color and change the walls into something else. You could add patterns to it. I may add some posters or something to kind of liven it up a little bit. I'm not sure yet. As far as the collar stand itself, there's many ways you could approach it. I didn't want to get too detailed as far as adding numbers, because I was building a traditional bingo hall, where it would be like 1 to 15 in the B row and 16 to whatever, and so forth. And I didn't want to get into the trap of having to try and design the numbers for every single one of them from 1 to 75. So I've just kind of faked it in by indicating this is where the numbers would be by these squares. And of course, this is just the pattern board. This is the example of what pattern players are currently looking for, that kind of thing. So it's really basic. You could do it in many ways. It would be a lot simpler for something like this if we actually had number and letter tiles, if nothing else, even if it wasn't just individual, like the number 1 thing that you would like stick on the outside of your house or something. But even if it was just tiles, that would like simplify this and other projects that would require that kind of thing, because there's some other builds I've been contemplating for some guild events that we might actually want to use, and it would be so much easier if I had access to like some numbers and letters rather than trying to build them in myself. But you can see here we have the collar board. Of course, there's the bingo hopper itself. It's supposed to be like air generated. You got the little vent down below, and then you got the balls kind of floating around, and then underneath you'll see, I can angle it just right, there's the little escape hatch where every now and then one of them will go right up into it, and the idea is they pop out up here, and then as the caller calls them, he pulls it out from here and then places it wherever it's supposed to be, and when he places it here, it lights up over here. So it sounds complicated maybe to some, but it's a pretty simple little system. I don't know if they really do that this way anymore. I'm going by my memory of bingo when I was growing up. And the last time I think I went to a bingo hall was like, I don't know, 15 plus years ago. So I'm sure things have changed by then. By now, I mean, because like I said, I'm used to using paper cards and little wooden cards with the sliding windows and stuff. But I'm sure, I think as I was in my last years in the States, it was going more electronic. It was like little iPad kind of things that you had your cards on, and you would input it like a little computer kind of thing. So I'm sure there's a lot more finesse to it these days. With the paper cards, it was pretty, I guess, not environmental friendly or whatever, because I mean there was like just tons of paper and people just ripping them off as they go through the games, and just pile of bingo cards in a trash bag, you know. But anyway, we left off we just finished putting in the last of the tables. I know there's a gap here between that I could have put another row in, but I opted to leave it open with the idea that as people are coming in and they're going to be here at the cashier area, they'll be looking to get their cards and their daubers and things like that, and there may be a line, you know. In reality, probably not, but just in theory, you know, there could be a line of people waiting to be dealt with, and so I didn't want it getting too crowded back here. As well, I went on the premise that as people come in, they grab their chairs and they just start filling in the rows. And while probably it would work just the opposite, most people would probably sit in the back, I pretended that these were like good students and wanted to sit closer to the front so they could better see what was going on. So you'll see that most of the chairs are filling up the tables in the front, and as you get further back, it gets fewer and fewer. There are a few gaps here, but I've primarily kept it where the gaps are mostly back here. And then all of the chairs that haven't been used are just stacked against the wall. Again, I could get super fancy and have like a concession stand. I may even just go ahead and do that here. Have maybe this one have food and stuff they can buy, and then this one be the bingo materials. But I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, that's where we left off. It's kind of a boring build for some, I suppose. But for those that are looking for activity kind of style rooms or buildings, this is an example of how you might approach it. I've seen lots of people do like movie theaters, and they have like the tiered seating so that the higher ones are further up. Could have done that with this, but I really didn't think it was necessary. I mean, most places like this aren't tiered like that. But you know, maybe you have a lecture hall where, say your guild does like workshops for people that want to learn more about a class, and you have like a series of class leaders that come in and discuss some of the ins and outs and tips and tricks and things like that. You could build like a lecture hall, and instead of a bingo callers stand up here, you have like a podium kind of thing going on. And this may be, instead of the bingo board, you'd have like slides and things like that, a video display of maybe some examples of people playing that particular class in action. You know, theoretically, obviously we don't have little videos, but or maybe you want to make it like just a giant guild meeting hall kind of thing. It doesn't have to be game oriented. It could be just any kind of public facility that you would need a large amount of seating and things like that. So anyway, so I think most of the cards and stuff have been placed along here. The thing we probably need to include now is little ways of the players marking their cards. which we call them daubers. It's just like a little bottle of ink with a little squishy sponge pad on the end, and when you push it, daubs it. It's like a little ink pad kind of thing, and they come in a variety of colors. I've seen some that are scented, which is really gross. Yeah, I think the medium bottle will look the closest to kind of what a dauber would look like. So we're just going to start. I better do the reload UI. I forgot. I try to remember, but I don't always do. My bad. Now, I'm not going to put a bottle at each and every one of the cards because, you know, sometimes you have a family or a couple come in and they just share the dauber. But primarily, excuse me, we're going to give them each one. But there's going to be some places where it's just like the cards, you know, I didn't want them all being straight up and lined perfectly. Some of them are kind of tilted this way or that, depending on how I think the player might be using it. So we're just going to start placing on it. And yes, they're going to be huge when they first come in. I'll figure out the size better later. Okay. Come on. There we go. We'll say this group is sharing. This one's just playing by themselves anyway. Maybe this one's left-handed as well. Maybe he likes this up at the top. Maybe they had 2 or 3 because they had like different colors or something. This one, maybe she has 3 just by herself. Oops, ran out of balls. I wanted to place it. Just keeps moving it. There we go. Okay, so everybody has a bottle that needs a bottle, or a dauber. So now the trick is to figure out what's the best size for it. And I figure 20 is probably too small because, well, it probably would work. I want it to be a little bit more visible, so I think I'm going to go with, yeah, the 30 looks better. And then again, remember, you don't want them all facing the same direction, so if there's not a lot of variety in that as you go around looking at them, then be sure and kind of turn them now and then just to be different. And I did mention that some folks, they'll come and they'll have like their little lucky charms that they have. It could be anything from like a lucky rabbit's foot keychain thing, or maybe it's pictures of their grandkids, or a lot of times it's a little stuffed animal kind of thing. But since my alt doesn't really have a whole lot of easy access to a variety of plushies, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to use one of those. That's something to think about, you know. Like when you're setting up a room in your house, it's okay if you just have, like, say, an office space. It's alright if you just have a desk and a chair and maybe some pictures on the wall, but it's those extra details. Would you have a pile of books on the floor? Would you have some papers stuck to a bulletin board? Would you have some trophies on the wall? A lot of people fall into the trap of like they just put like the barest minimum in it, and they forget to add those extra little bits. I mean, even on a desk that's already decorated, you could add extra things just to personalize it for your character. I'm gonna move these closer together, I think. Yeah, because they look pretty spread apart there. Yeah, I've seen them. They come in odd kinds of little odd shapes as well. The daubers that I remember, I've seen some that were like super tall. It was like supposedly, double the amount of ink, and so they last longer. And of course, like I said, they come in all sorts of colors. Some even came with special shaped tips, so that maybe instead of just a circle daub, it would like make a star or triangle or something like that. I know some they got even fancier with like adding glitter to it, and like I said, some at one point came scented. You'd smell a lot of blueberry stuff and strawberry stuff. It was kind of nasty. I thought it was a bad call because, I mean, even though Bingo was typically kind of an older person's game, there was still a lot of kids. I would think they would be tempted to kind of nibble on it because it smells so good. Okay, down to the last few here. Okay, so there's that. And again, because they're small, the further I zoom out, the less you see. You have to be zoomed in pretty close. Now there is the soda cup that the caller has. I could plant a few of those out here, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna just pretend there's no. Maybe this one. I don't know. I may add it later. the side. Keep changing my mind about how I want the stand here to be. So we know this is going to be where they pick up their cards. So the cast hand floors, we're going to grab, let's say, out here a bit. Just gonna stack up a few. And let's see, what size do we have those things? Okay, so we have these cards, and what I'll do is I'll leave them onto the board here. Don't have to necessarily let them be all jumbled like that. Stack them up a little straighter if you want. Bots probably wouldn't allow them to be all too messy. And they're pretty thin, so you know you're not gonna have them. If you wanted to have like really big stacks of those things, that would be a lot of decor. I'm going to keep it kind of just bare minimum here. I'll put some daubers here. Oops. Okay, so then we'll just resize these all. And you could go through the trouble of lining them up perfectly and all of that, but I'm not going to. My bots aren't all that into precision. They're kind of sloppy bots. Now, I did mention yesterday that we've got the new CBDC for my guild going this month. The theme for it is swimming pool. So I may be switching over to that project sometime this week. We'll see if that's going to be the case. If it's going to be tomorrow, I don't know. Well, tomorrow's house tour, so it won't be tomorrow, but like I might start it up Thursday, even though I may not have this one completely finished. So we'll see. But I just haven't gotten around to that. I usually do a little bit of research on like some ideas. I'll use pictures off of Google for references on a lot of things that I build or work on, and I just haven't had the time yet to got so many little things going on. I just haven't had a chance to really check it out as to what I might want to try. In fact, I'm not even sure. Whoops. Oh, crud. Try that again. But like yesterday, I spent a lot of time on Dominion side because I was, oh, for crying out loud. I'm down. I don't want to. Anyway, I spent a lot of time yesterday on Dominion side because I was doing some house tours. So I'm trying to, you know, not only increase the list for that side of Jabbit on, you know, in the official forums listing, but just to find some more homes, because a lot of the homes I've been finding there's some custom building going on, but it's like one little piece here and one little piece there. It's not like very extensive, so it doesn't really warrant a full plot tour in a lot of cases. Or I'll catch them where they're still a work in progress, but I mean, like, they've got a lot of work to do. I'll find like a plot that's maybe got a quarter of it done so far. They've still got, you know, it's clear that there's road extensions or something that leading to, you know, unfinished areas. And while I have toured some unfinished places in the past, generally speaking, they look pretty complete as is. While there is some obvious bits that are a little missing, for the most part, they look pretty good, even as in the unfinished state they are. But these others are pretty clearly still being worked on, and so while there's a good many on the list, not all of them are really quite ready for a tour. So I've been busy the last couple of days trying to find enough homes to tour for tomorrow, and I finally got a fourth one that I'm pretty sure I can visit tomorrow. Well, take it back. I've got 3 down and then a maybe on a 4th. There's another one that I'm really anxious to tour, but they're not ready yet, and they did ask me to wait because as I was visiting the houses, I happened to come across it while they were there on their plot, and we got to talking, and so yeah, I'll give a shout out to the Huxley Cornwallis, aka Flicks. Yeah, their place, I think what it was the upper area is pretty much complete, I think, but it's the bunker house that's kind of off limits at the moment, so I don't know if they would prefer I wait to tour their place until they've got that done, or if they mind. I've written them an in-game letter just to double check, but I haven't heard back from them. And then there's another one that they've only got the skeleton of the place ready, so maybe not this week, but 2 weeks from now, when the next round of Dominions come up, I'll be able to tour their place. Hopefully they'll be done with that. I can't spell. I probably should move these over a bit. So this is going to be like someone's in the process of purchasing a set of cards and a dollar. And I guess we could make this more like the missions right here. Kind of wanting to go away from that, but there's really not much else that you can add. Well, they're selling cards and daubers, and that's it. There's probably other things, but the farmer's factory. Yeah, we have a lot of little farmy places around here, so we have a lot of traffic. There are tractors going up and down the road, and then some of them cater to like some larger businesses with their crops that they grow and stuff. And so we have a lot of big rigs that come through to load up, a lot of refrigerated things. I'm just checking the size of the soda cup I have up here. Okay. Just to make it consistent. I may have a few different sizes of it. Well, let's see. I have a couple of big sizes. And all those are really big. Oops. This is what I mean by when you build a place, it can kind of start to feel a little too big. Because then when you start adding in little details like this whole area looks really, the space doesn't look like it's being used nicely, because the objects are so small. But I don't want to make them, you know, too big, because then it just feels cartoony to me. I'm just going to go ahead and make them all the same. Simple. And let's see. I don't think I have any fruit bowls or anything. Let's see what we got. Well, I got tons of plates. Let's just use a couple of bowls, I guess, as an example of what. Now, we don't want to make it too huge, because then that looks weird in comparison to the other stuff. So I guess the field is waking up. And let's see, we'll just kind of maybe here's the cheese. But not yet, I guess it's in the food section. Have anything? No, I didn't think so. We want the blockless. And that always comes in so big. And maybe some berries, fruit. So it's a fruit and cheese bowl. You can get fancier. You can really make some little dishes or whatever you want. Again, I'm only using what's available on on the vendors, so my options are fairly limited as far as like if I don't want to go and craft anything. You could have the succulent pig platter or something like that if you wanted. But when you're doing like me and keeping it kind of, you know, you're too cheap to go and add a bunch of stuff in, then you have to kind of live with the limitations. Okay, so we got some food plates and drinks, and I'll just set a couple drinks out here. As if somebody ordered a couple. Okay, we're at 45. There we go. So we've got the food and drink vendor, and then we have the card and dollar vendor. Okay, I think we're coming down to the last of it. I really can't think of anything else I personally want to add to it. Like I said, I don't want to get too fancy. This is just kind of an off-the-cuff kind of a project. So I'm not going to get like super detailed about it. You could, like I said, add in special designs on the walls. You could even add windows if you want. I just chose not to. We've got the speakers here. You could add speakers in the back so that everybody can hear, or along the side, or something like that. If you wanted some bingo halls, they don't just have the bingo. They also have like the slot machines and other kinds of little gambling games. You could add those in if you want. You could do the seating arrangement different. I just chose to make it all one long table, but you could block it up a little different if you wanted. You know, have them angled like a, I don't know, however you want. With the height of this, you could, in theory, just split it up into several floors. Maybe have a balcony type thing going on where you have like maybe the premium bingo players are up top and out of the way of the peons down below. Lots of ways you could go about it. I'm just doing it my own simple, like a rudimentary kind of build. Pardon me. Okay, so gonna have to deal with the lighting and for when we install a roof. So we're gonna bring this down. In fact, let's just get rid of it for now. You can see what a big difference that is, how dark it went. I don't think the sconces really fit. Let's see what kind of lighting we have on hand. I may end up using them, very possible, but that one would probably work really nice, but I only have the one, so that one costs a lot. Yeah, I may end up just using the sconces. So we'll get a few. Whoops. And I keep hitting the wrong thing. And spelling it wrong as well. I'm terrible. I blame it on a somewhat early hour. Usually I spend my mornings doing other things, and then I'm gonna play on the computer for gaming, like more in the afternoon kind of thing. But with the streaming, I've kind of changed my habits, and still not, even after all these months of streaming, I'm still not used to functioning so with a mission so early in the morning. I'm just not a morning person, period. Okay, so how are we gonna do this? Looks normal. That just looked creepy. I wonder if let's see. If I make it small and make it look normal, then I think it's not gonna. Let's see. If I leave it big, maybe I can hide it in the roof. That's a test I'm gonna try real quick. Need to move it up just a little. Oh, handlebars are always such an awkward place. So we're going to do a test. If it works like this, then I think I would rather just have it a large one and have it nicely lit up like this than to have those little creepy colored, you know, mood lighting going on. I want it really bright. Of course, I probably could just change my side. Anyway, let's see. Gonna go with the boring orange floor. And basically it should be just copying the floor down below and lifting it up. Yeah, so see, even with the light above the ceiling there, the lighting comes in nicely. Much better than that shaded. It looks too creepy that way. Like people would be having to have candles at every table just to be able to see their numbers and stuff. So what we'll do is about positioning. If I can see my arrows here. Just kind of eyeballing about centering it. I'm going to do the same this direction. And then what I'll do is I'll copy what I have here. And then use one more. Probably too bright. Go in here and have a look. That's like super bright. Okay, maybe just the two will work. Or maybe if I raise it down a bit, it won't be as strong. Let's see. A little better. Nice and brightly lit. There's some shadow work going on. The only thing is, no, I think it'll work all right. Once I put the rest of the ceiling in, the shadows of the lights themselves won't show. That should be okay. Okay, so just a second piece for the other part of it, and then we'll see how it looks. I may size them back up again if the intensity of the light is diminished too much by the roof. Didn't that copy? Could be because of how it's sitting close to the ground. Oh my goodness. Oh, let's minus at. Okay, there's that. So it looks nicely lit. Probably is a little darker than I maybe. Not too bad though. I think we'll call it good on that. Now the only other thing is, of course, how it looks on the outside. It looks pretty ridiculous with the huge lights sticking up on top. So what you could do is you could just slap a roofing on top of there if you want. Kind of, I don't know, generator machining things, that kind of deal. Back on here, kind of hide that, but not get too fancy. Again, this is just a goofy thing, so it's not like I'm really aiming for some kind of mind-boggling design or anything. Could leave it just 2, but I don't know. Again, I like odd numbers. checking to see about the distance from the front. And then lots of traffic this morning. There you go, just some kind of goofy design, and that hides. It's just essentially to hide the the lights. If you wanted to get fancy, you could do it differently. Maybe have a steepled roof instead, or who knows what. But it works for this. A very simple, basic bingo hall. Nothing super clever about it. Okay, so I think that will be it on that. Now I've got the starting to stutter again. Reload my UI. Now I could see about adding some kind of a sign or something out here. Not quite sure what I might want to or could use here. Could just repeat the bingo name out here or something, but I think the easiest would be just to use, you know, like if you have one of the holographic shop signs, that would be pretty simple. I don't think there's too many straight up signs that would work without costing an arm and a leg, and that would make sense because I mean it's not a gun shop. And that doesn't even look appropriate. So probably either to rewrite the word bingo like you did in the other thing, you could either you could attempt to do it in neon. I'm not sure if there's enough neon variety to allow for that, but it's possible. The only problem is you might want to thicken the wall a bit because if you're going to be hiding bits, you don't want those bits to be sticking out over here. Otherwise, I would probably just use like maybe a holographic shop sign here, that kind of thing. I would keep it simple. Wouldn't get too fancy. Like I said, it would help a lot of things if we had letters and numbers that we could use for sign making and stuff like that. Since we don't, you'll have to either do it from scratch on your own using some materials. If it's stuff that's not neon, then you would need to add some lighting out here to kind of point to it. You might even can find some stuff that, you know, make it with some arrows pointing, you know, entrance here, bingo here, that kind of thing. But what I was going to say is the reason, even though this wasn't really intended to be used, I am thinking about asking the guild's members that are playing the bingo every Saturday to maybe drop by here and we'll do a group shot of them kind of goofing around the bingo hall. But so I'm going to be leaving that up. I think that's kind of got a gap there. Excuse me. I'm going to be leaving it up for a little bit. So that means I need to make sure I've got some room for swimming pool that I need to make, because all of the CBDC stuff I do on this plot called the CBDC Creation Station. So pardon me, I forgot my drink, so I don't have anything to wash away the dust. So I have to be kind of thinking about decor owned and all that. So I'll probably have to go through later and get rid of a lot of things that's, especially like those plates, 300 something plates, get rid of those, and things like that, just to make room for the swimming pool that I'm going to have to try and build. There's a few things in here that I could probably get rid of. Now that the monument one is done, I could probably get rid of it. But yeah, I think for all intents and purposes, for just the basic idea of a bingo hall, I think we're pretty much done with that. I don't really have any, starting to rain again, further ideas about what I want to add to that. Like I said, you can get fancier, you can add other wings to it, you could add an actual little dining hall. You know, you could really go fancy and just have a whole kind of casino kind of thing going on. You know, not just the bingo hall, but you know, a slots area, blackjack area. I've seen someone else do a kind of a casino theme, but I don't think they had like a bingo hall included in that. But you know, even if I don't go all whole hog with this particular build, maybe it'll spur some ideas for others. So yeah, I think that's it for today. I know it's a short run, so I apologize on that, but really don't have any plans to start anything else today. Went down pretty hard. So we're just gonna kind of drop it off here, and we'll pick it up on Thursday. Thursday we'll probably get started on the swimming pool. Hopefully by then I'll have a kind of an idea of maybe the shape and how, you know, the style that I want to put it in. We'll see. Mine will definitely not be one of those that you can actually kind of, you know, quote unquote swim in, because I'll probably be using the glass to simulate the water, because again, I'm using a low-level char that doesn't have access to a lot of the fancier steps, and there really just isn't a whole lot of variety as far as items that you can use as to simulate water. I mean, there are, but there aren't. A lot of the like monitor screen type of things that would allow you to kind of sink into it, that doesn't have any collision. A lot of those are like world drop kind of things, and they're a little harder to come by. So I'm kind of limiting myself on what I might be able to use for the swimming pool. Wow. That was a moped zipping by. Anyway, so we'll see what I can put together. It might look pretty nice, but you just won't be able to actually use it in the way that it's intended. It'll more be like a frozen swimming pool than an actual swimming pool. Hopefully one day Carbine adds some kind of water decor that we can use, even if it's like a pre-shaped kind of pool of water and you have to build around it. That would be still fantastic. Would open the doors to many possibilities. But until then, you know, we work with what we got, and of course I'm going to try and work with what I have available, primarily on the housing vendor. Sometimes I'll craft things for it, but I tend to try and keep it just to the vendor, just to see if I can do it from what's available. It doesn't always work out great, and there's probably far better looking ways you can do it if you've got access to other items, which I don't limit my guildmates to that, so they'll probably come up with some fantastic builds. But we'll see what I can put together. But that will be Thursday. Tomorrow, of course, is Wednesday, so it's going to be house tours, and it is Dominion's turn, so we will be hopping on to Dominion's side for that episode. So if you're interested, if say you're on Entity realm, or you are a diehard Exile fan and you just don't have access to the Dominion side of the Javit realm, then this is your opportunity to kind of get a peek at some of the stuff that's going on over there. And then of course next week we'll revisit the Exile side. It's an alternate kind of thing. So yeah, hope you can join me, and until then, I wish you guys a great day. Hopefully wherever you are, it is decent weather, not too hot, not too cold, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.